This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place to tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the shoot around. It's your man Sim with nothing but Knicks. And we are expecting to have a few guests join in. They may be a little bit late, but we expect to have them here. But today, I have a very particular topic that I want to address. And I think you guys have seen it already in the title. As we know, the New York Knicks have signed Jalen Brunson, ladies and gentlemen, to a pretty long contract, right? $100 million contract for Jalen Brunson. His father is on the coaching staff. Leon Rose, he's connected to Leon Rose. He's connected to Tom Thibodeau and all of that stuff. All of that. So the question, I think, is a very good question. How does his relationships and connections to the New York Knicks and the coaching staff and the management, how does it impact the locker room? And I'm not trying to split hairs. I'm not trying to cause division amongst the team. I think it's a very valid question because there's a lot of connections between Jalen Brunson, Rick Brunson, Tom Thibodeau, Leon Rose, Jalen Brunson's current agent, et cetera, et cetera. And if this team as currently constructed, I'm not even thinking about Donovan Mitchell right now. If this team as currently constructed is to be successful, it's going to have to be a team effort, ladies and gentlemen. It's not going to be about one player being the superstar. It's not going to be about one guy who's the definite closer every single night. This team isn't constructed that way. You're going to need Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, R.J. Barrett, Mitchell Robinson, Evan Fournier, Quentin Grimes, whoever's in that starting wing position. They're going to have to be on a string. They're going to have to be on the same page. And if there's tension or anything in the locker room, that could be an issue. All right, so it's important, ladies and gentlemen, that this team set boundaries. And I want to play you a little bit of the crossover from last night with Tony and Steph, because they had a little bit of a discussion on the New York Knicks. They covered a lot of topics last night. A lot of topics, right? And one of those topics was how it might impact the locker room between Jalen Brunson and the rest of his teammates, especially since it seems like he doesn't have a definite connection to the players. A lot of times when players come to a new team, they're friends with this guy or that guy. They play with this guy in college, play with this guy in high school, all, whatever. Doesn't seem like it's that way with Jalen Brunson, except for Derrick Rose, right? Does have a connection to Derrick Rose because Derrick Rose was playing in Chicago when Jalen Brunson was coming up and playing in high school. So there's a little bit of a connection there. Of course, Derrick Rose, though, has a connection to Tom Thibodeau. Right? That's Tom Thibodeau's guy. So how does that work? House Flan said, winning cleanses all tension. That could be true. Also, I've seen teams that are winning but also have tension, and that tension results in them not reaching their maximum potential. Right? We need this team to reach their maximum potential, ladies and gentlemen, because with Jalen Brunson, their maximum potential may only be the 5th or 6th seed. And we want the Knicks to reach that. But I want you to take a listen to Steph and Tony from last night's show on the crossover, and then let's have a conversation about it. And I'm going to tell you what I think and how I feel Jalen Brunson, Rick Brunson, Leon Rose, Tom Thibodeau, and the entire team need to address the situation. Let's take a listen right here.
I mean, you're bringing somebody in whose father is on the coaching staff. So now you got an issue with the coaching staff and you in that locker room. Are you saying anything with Brunson in there? Knowing that his dad is on the coaching staff, knowing that, his father his godfather runs the team, knowing that Tibbs knew him since he was a baby. So there may be certain things that in a locker room you would let off, that with him around, you might not. That being said,
that's a problem.
But that's human nature. I'm not, if your father is coaching the team, Tony, and we're on the same team, and I come in the locker room and he pulled me out the game and I'm pissed. If you're not there, I'm gonna let it out. If you're there now, I might be like, I don't really want to say anything. And now you get a lot of things not being said that can creep in and impact chemistry. This is worst case scenario. That being said, I think Brunson has an opportunity, and he's smart enough to know this, that when he comes in, he has to show that I'm one of y'all. You understand? He's going to have to build those individual relationships with those players and let them know, listen, even though my father's on the coaching staff, even though my godfather can ship any one of y'all out, even though I knew Tibbs since whatever, I'm down with y'all. You know what I mean? And because otherwise they're not going to feel comfortable saying certain things around him because it might get back to his godfather. You understand what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see how they bond as a team, because I think that can be a sticking point.
I agree. My only issue with that is that's not on Brunson and that's not on the organization. That's on the individual. That's why I put it on the individual more than the team. Now, it can start with the individual and then snowball into.
When you say it's with the individual, what do you mean?
All right, I'm going to stop it right there, ladies and gentlemen. All right, that was Steph and that was Tony Crow. It was a great conversation, so if you get a chance, go check that out from last night. And I agree with both. I think I agree a little bit more with Steph about things that could happen in the locker room and how I think it needs to be addressed. But I understand where Tony was coming from when he's saying, it's on an individual, that individuals have to be strong enough to stand up and say what they feel, regardless of who's in the locker room, et cetera, et cetera. When I take a look at this team, as I said earlier, they're going to have to win together. They got to do it together, right? It's got to be one band, one sound with this basketball team. And I believe that they have enough talent to be a winning team, right? To have a record above 500. I believe they do. They have enough talent to do so on this basketball team. But they're going to need everyone to be on the same page and everybody to be together. That being said, I'm pretty sure there's players on this team, as throughout the NBA, who've played on teams where one of the players' parents was coaching, assistant coaching, was the head coach, was the team mom. And that experience probably went different ways. You probably had some players who had a great experience, and the parent was tougher on the child than on everybody else. And I think that's what we expect from Rick Brunson. Then you probably had some who had experiences where, the dad or the mom or whoever was coaching or part of the team was a little biased towards their child. Speaking as a dad who coached his daughter, I also coached my son. I know I held them a little bit more responsible. And in some ways it wasn't fair to them, but that was the relationship, because I had to show to the team that no matter who is out there, I was not going to favor my child. I also had to show the parents. Now, in this case, you don't got to show the parents, right? You just got to show the players that there's no favoritism going on. But it didn't matter. It mattered. It mattered that I showed that to my players. But in discussions amongst each other, there were still questions to my daughter and my son. What's your dad going to do? Who is your dad starting? What trips are we going on? Tell your dad this. Tell your dad that. And I can tell you personally, there were times when my daughter or my son would say, Dad, such and such player feels this way. Such and such player feels that way. And sometimes it was in secret, right? The player told them how they were feeling in secret. Now, what I did is I didn't tell that player that I knew, or I didn't let on that I knew. I tried to listen to what my son or my daughter said and then tried to find a way to rectify the situation, right? Without letting on that I knew how they were feeling. And in all cases, it wasn't because they were afraid to speak to me because they were friends with my son or my daughter. It was just simply they were afraid to speak to me as a player. Players go through that. My point, though, is to say that it does happen. It's almost natural that it's going to happen when you have a child on a team. It seems like information does get back to the coach somehow or some way. Now, I will say this. I believe that my son and my daughter withheld things from me that were straight up like I shouldn't know, right? Because it was the players. Only the players should know that. So I do believe that they withheld that information, and I'm glad that they withheld that information because, you got to have that camaraderie between the players and the team. If not, it's going to be hard for your team to be successful. But I do know the communication goes on. And that's where I think from the jump, I'm going to start with Jalen Brunson. I believe Jalen's going to have to come into the locker room, whenever they have their first team meeting, just the players. And if I'm Jalen Brunson, I will call that team meeting. And it may be kind of hard for him to just call that team meeting off the jump, but it may be necessary for him to do so. And I would call him and say, listen, in whatever words he's going to use, but I'm just going to paraphrase for you. Listen, I know that my dad is an assistant coach. I know that you understand the relationship between me and Leon Rose, so on and so forth. I'd break it all down. Then I'd let him know, but you don't have to worry about me, right? If you feel like you need to say something to my father, say it. My father is his own man. That's your relationship. And I'm not going to jump in. I don't care what you say. I'm not going to jump in. That's your relationship. And if I'm Jalen Rose, then I'm not Jalen Rose, Jalen Brunson. I got to turn my head when I see somebody having a conversation with my dad. Right? I can't lend an ear. Now, if he starts to have a friend on the team that's close, a lot of times when you have close friends, guess what? They share with you. They share with you how they're feeling about the coaching staff, how they feel about particular coaches. That could be a dicey situation. Jalen Brunson's going to have to decide his boundaries there. But I think right from the jump, he's got to come in, set his boundaries, let the team know that I rock with you. My dad's on the coaching staff, and not that it's coaches versus players, but naturally, when you have coaches and players, there's going to be things that go on that the players talk about that doesn't involve the coaches, and he's got to let the team know that he's with them. And I think he should do it right from Jump Street. And I believe that'll buy a lot of trust from his teammates if he does it from Jump Street. Has to be from Jump Street. And then when you get to Rick Brunson, I think that Rick, I think he should do the same thing. I believe that he should address it right off the top. Right off the top. And let him know, listen, my relationship is with you as a player. My son doesn't matter. It's me and you. Right? And anything you need to share with me, share with me. Anything you need to say to me in the locker room, say it the way that you want to say it. I can guarantee you my son's going to stay out of it, and I'm going to make sure that I do not bring my son into it. I think that's necessary for him to do. Now, when you start talking about how he coaches his son, I can tell you what, it can be a very strenuous situation. It can be a very strenuous relationship when you have a father and child as a coach and a player, because those lines cross. Now, and I'm speaking on a high school level, though, right? It's going to be much different on a professional level. It should be much different on a professional level. On a high school level, you still got to discipline your child. And so it becomes dicey when those lines begin to cross. Right? You might still be upset at something your child did at home, and you feel like you want to take it out on him on the court. You want to make him run extra laps, do extra push-ups, take extra shots, whatever it is. But you can't blend those lines. You gotta stay away from those lines. Got to set your boundaries. On a professional level, Jalen Brunson should have his own home, right? He should. Rick Brunson has his own home with his wife, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't think those lines should cross, because he's no longer disciplining Jalen. And I think they've been trainer / player / son for long enough that Jalen understands how his father is going to address him. Right? He's talked about it. And he expects the accountability. He wants as a matter of fact, and I kind of seen this in my own daughter, I think he wants his dad to be there to push him, because he believes that's how he's going to get to the next level. You know, I witnessed with my daughter, you know, when I finished coaching her in high school and she went on to college to play, I was very tough on her. And when we would train one-on-one, I made her work very hard, did a lot of running, made sure she kept her endurance high. Once she went to college, I stepped back, said, college, coach, this is you now. She didn't feel as though he had the same level of structure. She didn't feel as though he had the same level of truthfulness. Tell her what, you know, I'm a dad. I'm going to let her know, you're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. She didn't feel like the college coach did the same thing. And Jalen Brunson may feel the same way, because he knows his dad is going to give him the raw, unfiltered, uncut truth about what he is and is not doing on the court. And maybe he feels he needs that. So I'm not worried about that relationship between those two. It's more about the guys in the locker room. I also think that Leon Rose and Jalen and Rick, they've got to, I don't know if this needs to get out to the team, but they've got to set some boundaries about conversations, right? Because if it's true that they are as close as they are, like Steph said, I don't remember if it was in that clip or not, but like Steph said, there's probably times when they have dinner together, right? Or have had dinner together, just going out together, etc. You know, during this time, you may have to, at least for the first year or two, you may have to say, you know, we got to chill with that right now. Right? Because you don't want any kind of conversations bleeding out over dinner. right? And then you say something that you didn't mean to say, right? And then now Jalen knows something, and now he's got to keep a secret, right? You don't want him to have to keep secrets, because if that's the case, you know, you're asking for trouble, because now you're putting something on him that doesn't need to be on him. So I think they've got to set some boundaries within their group and stick to it. And if this happens, ladies and gentlemen, they can set these boundaries and stick to them, which I think maybe they can. If they can set these boundaries and stick to it, then all should go well. All should go well. It's a tough task. I'm going to tell you that. I think it is a tough task. It's worth the try, though. Want to talk about players that could maybe be an issue a little bit? Julius Randle comes to mind, right? I think already people have questions about how Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson may or may not work together. I do think the two are familiar with each other. I don't think there's going to be a problem in their approach to the basketball game. And I think they'll work together. Now, Julius Randle, he's been the guy who's basically had the run of the table, right? He's been the one the past couple of years that can get away with whatever, if that's what you want to say. You know, it seemed last year he wasn't really held accountable as you would want him to be held accountable. So he's been the guy that had the keys to the city, at least the keys to Madison Square Garden. Jalen Brunson is coming in, and he doesn't just have the key to Madison Square Garden. He's got the key to the secret room under the garden. So my question is, how does a guy like Julius Randle feel about that? You know, and you know, I don't know if it's something that's going to be displayed on the court, or maybe he doesn't even care. You know, and maybe this is the first time we're seeing it with the Knicks, but maybe it's happening like this all across the NBA. So guys are just used to it, and that's that. But I do think somewhere along the line, and RJ Barrett too, the thought at least would creep into the head like, yo, this guy's coming in with the key to the secret room under the garden. I've been here for 3 years, and I haven't come close to it. This guy's coming in with it. Somewhere in the back of that mind, you know, I think that thought will probably creep in. Right? So I do think it's up to the team to disarm it right off the top. You know what I mean? Disarm it, and that's how, you know, you got to jump in front of it. I see Navy Blue 76 said, this is a non-issue. I disagree that it's a non-issue. I totally disagree. Because it's right there in your face. You can't tell me that some of these players don't already have it in the back of the mind about the connections that he has with the team. So I don't think it's a non-issue. And I don't know your history with playing sports. But if you played sports where someone has a parent on the team, it may not turn out to be an issue, but in the beginning, there's something there that, you know, oh yeah, you know you're going to play because your dad said this. Or because your dad is the coach. Or you know this is going to happen because your dad is the coach. Because, as I said, coaching my daughter, I witnessed it. Right? Now, we had, for the most part, good relationships, but there was one occasion where there were two players that, for whatever reason, didn't like my daughter and basically said, oh, you're just going to say whatever your dad says. You're just going to follow whatever your dad follows. Right? So it happens. And so I do think it is an issue that needs to be seen. I don't think it's an issue that will tear the team down as long as you address it accordingly. I mean, that's all that I'm saying. And I'm not trying to cause any division amongst the team. I just want it to be addressed accordingly, right from the beginning. So all I'm saying is that it should be addressed right from the beginning. I mean, right from the beginning, you address it, boom, it's done. Daryl Thomas said, these are not children. You're right, but they are adults, and they are humans. And believe it or not, adults have a lot of the same feelings that children have. A lot of the same feelings that children have. Adults have the same feelings. It all depends on how you express those feelings. You know what I mean? So, we always have this big separation between adults and children. And really, there's not as big of a separation as you would think. It's just that adults have a better understanding of how they feel and learn how to express how they feel. Children do not know how to express how they feel. So then it comes out through their actions. And when you have adults who can't express how they feel, it ends up coming out through their actions. And I know you've seen a lot of adults who have very childish reactions and actions. A lot of times it's because they can't express their feelings. So I get it. They're adults. It doesn't mean that they don't have feelings. And it doesn't mean that they didn't have an experience in the past that impacts the way that they feel now. I mean, you all work. And I'm sure you've been at a job where you've seen someone get hired that you don't even think is qualified to be hired for their position, but they knew somebody in upper management. Or their parent worked at that facility or whatever it is. And you heard staff say, oh, the only reason why they got that job is because their father works here or their mother works here or they know this person or they know that person. These are all adults, and I know we've all heard it. So, yes, it could happen in the NBA as well. That's all I'm saying. I hope it doesn't, but that's all I'm saying. Kep Giggles said, unemployed currently. Don't worry, Kep. You're going to get one. You're going to get a job. If you don't get one, just start working for yourself, Kep. So, just start working for yourself. Then you can say, I hired myself. I know somebody who works for themselves and they gave themselves employee of the month. That's for a whole nother story. Relaxing Nature Sounds, thank you for the super chat. You said, this can absolutely be a problem. Look at Doc and Austin Rivers when they were on the Clippers. Enough said. I don't even need to go into that. Right? Enough said. Look at Doc and Austin Rivers on the Clippers. There were some things there. And the last thing that we want, and I don't think it'll happen with Jalen Brunson because he seems to be a person that's going to be straightforward, right? He's going to say what he feels, and I think he's the type of person that can say what he wants to say and express his feelings, right? I think he is that type of a person. So I don't think it'll happen with Jalen Brunson the way that it happened with, like, D'Angelo Russell, right? Obviously, he lost trust of the locker room for something totally different, but it came from him saying something that he had no business saying, so nobody trusted him, right? So nobody trusted him. And we don't want that with Jalen Brunson. You know what I mean? Craig said, Sim, got that situation going on right now at work with a young lady getting promoted after attaching herself to a manager, and others with more experience and seniority are highly upset. Yeah, man, it happens. It happens. Let me get you a phone call here, ladies and gentlemen. I do have the phone lines open because I want to hear what you think about the situation. And, we're going to just do some mailbag too. Whatever questions you have, throw them in the chat or whatever. And, we'll get to them and talk about them. You know what I mean? Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
Salute, 3 capital S's. Blessings, health, and safety to you, my brother, Sim.
What's going on?
AKA the young Superfly, the young Ron O'Neal. Shout out, blessings, health, and safety to everybody in the chat. I'm going to get to the point real quick, and I'm going to talk to anybody that ever played basketball anywhere. When you used to get together with your man back in the days and he had to whip you, you know what I'm saying, and he'll pick you up, he'll come pick you up to go take you to the park or to the gym, you know what I'm saying? And when you pull up, you know what I'm saying, you the one that hit the foul shot for you to pick the team, but you don't pick the driver. You know what I'm saying? That's the issue right there off gate. And with that issue happening, I'm trying to slide away from this truck that's making this noise. I'm at a Mary's getting my car fixed. But with that situation happening like that, you know what I'm saying? That's foul. Your man picked you up and y'all go to the park and you don't even pick him, but he driving. That's how Julius Randle feel. I took us to the playoffs. I got MIP. I got, you know what I'm saying, most improved player of the year. You know what I'm saying? We've been somewhere where we ain't been in a long time, but y'all bring Kimber over here. Y'all give him the brand new jersey. Y'all give him all these promises and everything like that. You don't know if that affected Julius any type way. Then here we go. Y'all gonna get this man the key to the back cave and let him do all that? No, that's something that shouldn't be done. We need everybody to be on the same page. You give one person the key, let everybody have the key. Don't separate nothing. Everybody need to be on the same page, line going straight across. You know what I'm saying? Julius is working hard in the offseason. He's trying to get right. You don't know if he's going to use this as a situation just to act up. You know what I'm saying? So, I don't like the situation. Me personally, as a Knick lover, you know what I'm saying? You just keep everybody even, man. Take that key and give it to everybody if you're going to give it to one person, man. Blessings, health, and safety to everybody. I got sirens going on everywhere. I'm getting ready to hang up the phone, but everybody be easy, you know what I'm saying? Soon you'll see the spider webs hanging off the buildings and everything, you know what I'm saying? Soon we're going to get right. And that's what they don't want us to have, that starting five, with Jalen Brunson, Spider-Man, RJ, Julius Randle, and Mitch. I see Mitch working out. He's shooting trays again. No, you've been doing that 2 years ago. Stop shooting them trays if you're not going to look at the rim during the game, you know what I'm saying? I need you to be able to get down that paint, jump, hook, you know what I'm saying? I need you to get 5 to 10% better on your free throw. I need you to be working that way. Stop shooting these trays. You don't even look at the rim during the game. God bless and health and safety to everybody. Salute, 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 3 capital S.
Hey, Jay Bug, let me ask you a question, though, before you go. You still
Yes,
here?
sir. Yes, sir.
Let me ask you
I'm
this,
still here.
about Randle. You know what I mean? Because you mentioned, maybe it doesn't seem fair, but isn't it up to Randle to how he handles it, though? Because you're going to come in situations that's not fair. Right? So isn't it up to Randle to say, all right, I'm in this situation. Let me come in open-minded and see how things work, see how things go, and act professionally. Isn't it up to Randle to be that way, though?
It is up to Julius. But, sometimes in life, you know what I'm saying, we can use excuses to take something out on somebody else. I can have an argument with you. Me and you can have an argument. And I'll walk away from that argument. You'll walk away from that argument. But I'm still heated. And somebody else will say something, and I take it out on him. I shouldn't be taking it out on that person. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I'm just trying to make sure we're getting over the hump. Yeah, it's up to Julius to keep his mind open. You know what I'm saying? Realize I didn't handle this situation right last year with Kim and everything. But we don't know what they talked about during the offseason. We don't know how they're going about it. And if the team talked to him about it, you know what I'm saying, before the situation, Julius is cool and all that, then big ups to Julius, you know what I'm saying? But I'm behind closed doors, just like the media. I don't know what they're talking on the inside. So, I'm just saying it like that. But I hope everything is all good and all well, but, I'm just speaking upon towards the situation.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I hear you, definitely. I hope everything goes well, too, man, because we need this team to be together. Like I said earlier, this team is not built on superstars. It's built on good players that are going to need to play together to be successful. Sort of like that 2004 Pistons team. Is it 2004, 2005, whatever, right? With Ben Wallace and Rip Hamilton and those guys. They weren't super duper stars, but they were good. And because they played together, they were able to reach the highest level. You know what I mean? The Knicks are going to have to play that style of basketball. And that's why, I'm concerned about this, because I want to see him play that level of basketball.
Man, I'm right there with you, man. I want to see us playing hard. I want to see us prove all the naysayers, the doubters, you know what I'm saying, all the media people, you know what I'm saying, everybody that's really going against us. It's us against the world. Tupac, may you continue resting in heaven, but it's Tupac and the New York Knicks, they all against the world.
Nah, no doubt, man. I appreciate you, Dave Boogie. Be safe out there, bro.
No doubt, baby.
No doubt.
Blessings and health and safety to you, my brother.
Peace. Big shout out to Ghost Rider. Thank you for the super chat. He said, salute, Sim. He said, I'm season ready right now. I feel you, man. I mean, we still got a ways to go before training camp even gets here. You know what I mean? So I'm definitely season ready too. I can't wait to get going with that. Kajana Woodbine, thank you for the super chat. I mean, I'm sorry. Thank you for the comment. You brought up a good point here. You said, I think the key difference is Brunson has his respect around the league already. He's sort of established as the second best player on a conference finals team. There's that respect there already. And I do agree with you. I think that is a big difference, right? So, I gave the scenario where, someone gets hired for a position and maybe they don't exactly deserve that position, right? Or, maybe they weren't qualified. Brunson is qualified. So I don't want to make it seem like I'm saying that Brunson is not qualified, because Brunson is qualified for the position. There's no doubt about it. He's qualified. So I don't want to put it out there like that. So, yes, I agree with you, man, and I appreciate you for your contribution. Let me get to the caller here. Caller, you live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please.
What up? This is Anthony A. from L.A., Los Angeles.
What's going on, my brother? How you feeling?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Yeah, excellent topic, man. For those who don't, like I said, been on a team or been in a corporate environment, this is an issue. It is an issue. Now, I'm going to go on the opposite end. The issue may not be that they talk about it. The issue may not be people bite their tongue. So the fact is, instead of working stuff out, a lot of cats may actually just swallow their thoughts and be like, I'm not going to say a word because Brunson's here in the locker room with us or something. So that's our biggest fear. Because communication between teammates especially is a big factor in every way, shape, or form. So if you're not talking, you're not communicating, you're not feeling comfortable with each other, it may spill over onto the court, and you start to have hesitation about, man, can I trust that guy? Because he may bring it back. I've been in management. I've been, senior management as well. And mid-management once, my staff were complaining about, us buying them lunch for the year. And we're like, oh yeah, part-timers clock out and you clock back in when you get in, but part-timers don't get paid for lunch. So when they come back from a 2-hour lunch break, it is an hour and a half or an hour of their pay, which is basically them buying their own lunch. So they complained. I agree with them. The word got back to senior management that, yo, he agreed with us. Manager agreed with us. And I'm like, yo, you didn't have to say that. But the other way, that they start buying their time next time I agree with them. And no one says anything. And just, the boil, it builds up. So like you said, it is an issue either way, that they either talk and it gets back on, or they don't talk and the team does a tension between each other. So yeah, I completely agree with you. It has to be dealt with upfront and straightforward. I think Brunson is so mature and he carries himself so well that he's going to be able to say to his teammates, yo, man, I know it's my dad. I don't care what you say. Exactly. Just don't insult my mom. That's all I got to say. Like old school New Yorkers. Just don't talk about my mama, but talk about my dad if you want to.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the reason why Jalen Brunson is here, right? Because because of his maturity, not maturism, maturity, making up words. I think that's one of the reasons that Jalen Brunson is here, and hopefully he brings that to the team.
Exactly, and so the only person, again, you're thinking about Julius potentially has been a challenge, but I think. He's probably going to have dinner with all the teammates one day before the season starts. And they're probably going to just get it all out in the open. And let's go say what you want, say what you think. And then, let's take the next step and walk in there as a team. And I think even Julius, I shouldn't say even Julius. I don't think I'm Julius. But I think everyone's going to be like, okay, here's our role. Here's what we're going to be asked of us.
Yeah.
When you get called to the plate, get up there and hit the home run or hit the single, whatever your job is. And get back in line and wait. Even Obi, backing up Julius, may realize that some games I may play 5 minutes. Some games I may play 20. Let's be ready, and I hope that's how they deal with it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Hey, I appreciate your time, man. Appreciate your call.
Anytime, man. Appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, man.
Peace, man.
All right.
Let me get my guy Big Bubba in the building. Big Bubba, what's popping with you, brother? Make sure you get that big head into the screen. All right, so we can see you good enough. What's up, man?
Yo, it's not gonna lie. I'm looking at the camera like, damn, why it really is big as hell?
What's up with you, brother? How you feeling?
Nothing much, man. I'm just, Secretly here at work? Not really.
Secretly at work?
No.
You hiding from somebody or something? Like,
No.
I mean, if it's a secret, you just let it out.
No, man, I'm good though. I can't complain, man. Something, I'm really not worried about him, man.
I'm not worried about Jalen.
Yep.
I'm not worried about Jalen at all. You know what I'm saying? It's just the dynamic that I'm worried about. And I just want the Knicks to address it head on. I don't want to wait until an issue happens.
Yeah.
I just want to address it head on because I do think it's going to be one of the elephants in the room that the Knicks have. You know what I mean? And so I think if you address it, then you get it out the way and then you move on.
You know what's crazy, Sim, for me? Because I know people probably thinking, oh, this might be Austin Rivers, Doc Rivers thing. Here's a big difference. You know, Doc Rivers was the head coach.
Right. And I think he was the general manager, right? Or
Yeah,
like that.
he was. He was. He was everything. And I remember reading, and Chris Paul said it that, there was a bit. Well, I don't think he said it publicly, but it got out that a lot of the people on the team felt like Austin Rivers was getting playing time because he was the coach's son.
Right.
He got paid because he was the coach's son.
Right.
And to be fair, I'm not gonna lie to him. I mean, evidence was. I think the contract he signed was a 4-year, $32 million contract because at the time, Austin Rivers.
Yeah. I don't remember what it was, but he got a nice contract. Now, I obviously don't think like Kajana Woodbine said. He said he thinks the key difference is that Brunson has respect around the league, and I think he does have respect around the league. But Austin Rivers was, people weren't sure, and then I think he kind of was bratty too, right? So I think that played a part in the way people felt about Austin Rivers. And you do notice he didn't want to go back to Philly when his dad is still in Philly, but he didn't want to go to Philly, right? Because he wanted to separate himself from his dad and prove that he could perform in the league without being under his dad's tutelage. I think with Jalen Brunson is opposite. He's proved it. Well, he's on the incline without his dad being his coach, right? He's on the incline. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's going back with his dad because he knows his dad is going to give him that rugged coaching that's going to take him to the next level.
Yeah, I think a good thing, again, I don't know Austin Rivers. He's probably a good guy, but it's kind of like you used to say about what's his name, Tim Hardaway. They kind of got this, again, I don't know these people personally, but they have the brat attitude a little bit.
Yeah, I guess maybe on the court. I met Tim Hardaway. He was cool. I met him and his dad. They was both cool. His dad didn't really want to be around too much, at that time because he was like, oh, y'all Knicks fans, da-da-da. But he was just joking. He was only joking. Now he works for the Knicks, so.
Yeah.
But Tim Hardaway was, Tim Hardaway Jr., he was cool. I mean, obviously it's going to be like that with fans and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's just, what it is too, Sim? I just hope, but I feel like we have a good group of guys where it's not going to get to that point where, people are going to think that Jalen's getting special treatment or anything like that. I think I can almost say I feel like we got a good group of guys on the team that it wouldn't get to that point. I feel like with the Clippers, there was just a lot of ego, man. I mean, there's a lot of ego with Chris Paul, Blake Griffin, and DeAndre Jordan. I feel like this team's a lot more better. Also, too, I think, like for example, right, even guys like RJ, right? RJ is kind of in a similar situation with himself when it comes to Team Canada.
Kind of.
His father runs Team Canada.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I feel like he can relate to him and talk to him like, relate to him like there. And then, this is what I would say too, Sam. I think Thibs is the perfect coach because I don't think Thibs is going to, what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, I think Tibbs, I agree. I think Tibbs will light into Jalen Brunson.
Yeah.
Right, because he's known him since he was a kid. He'll light into Jalen Brunson, with no love lost being had. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah,
Let me
of
get
course,
to the
'cause-
super chat real quick.
Yep.
Brandon Guest, thank you for the super chat. He said, I read an article that detailed how Jalen's pop is his toughest critic. Correct. Jalen even said it's good knowing they can cross boundaries from a place of love. I do think that this is the first time that they've crossed boundaries on an actual team, right? He's always coached Jalen outside of the team, but I think this is the first time that they've been on the same, they've been on the team where he's been an assistant coach on the team. You know what I mean? So this is new for them. And you heard him on the JJ Redick podcast say that they're still talking about how it's going to work. You know what I mean? They're still talking about it, trying to figure out those boundaries. You know what I mean? Which is, it's going to be important, for them to figure out those boundaries.
Yeah. But I think they will, because I think they both want to win.
Yeah.
And they both know what sacrifice is. And they, and they've been in situations before, so it's.
Let me ask you this. Looking at this team, because he's coming into this team without many, close relationships. Who do you see him developing a relationship with, honest player-wise?
Okay. I don't want to do the obvious because everybody's going to say RJ, but I'm gonna go with Quickly.
You think so?
I think him and Quickly will get along.
You think so? They seem to be opposite people to me. Quickly, like you heard Randall say over Summer League, Quickly is Hollywood, and yes, Quickly is Hollywood like a mug, man.
Yeah, I'm following
Jalen
him on.
not really. He's not.
I'm following him on Instagram right now. That joker is definitely Hollywood. No, but I think they'll get along because yes, Quickly is Hollywood, but I think Quickly has a very hard work ethic.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And I think that they'll get along through that. And I do believe that. Now, me personally, Sam, I'm be real. I think Rose is going to be gone before training. That's just my personal opinion.
Okay.
I think he's going to be gone, and I do believe that. Quickly is going to be elevated to the second, pretty much the point guard on the second unit.
Right.
And I feel like they're going to have a great conversations because they want to work together and have the unit smoothly transition from the first unit to the second unit. And I feel like they're going to play a big part because they're going to have the ball in their hands a lot. So I feel like, and they're also going to be playing together with each other, which they can because, Quickly can still move to the one. They can both interchange to the 1 and the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And, even Quickly, sometimes if you want to go small, he could be a 3 in situations. So I think they can be on the court. So I think they're going to have good communication. Because, I feel like him and RJ going to be good. But I think a surprise one would be definitely him and Quickly.
Yeah. I think, and do me a favor, because like your head is coming, it's huge coming out of the screen a little bit. So, just, center yourself. Center yourself a little bit. Like, you see how I'm centered in the middle? If you could just center yourself a little bit, just to make sure that your head.
Right here?
Yeah, there you go. We don't want your head falling off the screen. I don't know what size hat you wear, but sheesh.
I'm scared. If I told you, I'm not going to
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. Trav B. Ryan, thank you for the super chat. He said it's going to be JB and JR. And I agree. I was going to say, I think it's Julius Randle. I think him and Julius Randle are going to end up having a good relationship. I think that Jalen Brunson is more mature than Randle. But I look at a similar affect between the two. You know what I mean? Like, kind of quiet, serious, about business, stay to myself. I kind of see that in both of them. And I kind of see also both of them having this chip on their shoulder that they have something to prove. Obviously, Julius Randle trying to prove that he's an all-star player. Jalen Brunson trying to become, also trying to prove that he's an all-star player. I just feel like they have the same kind of a mindset. Jalen Brunson is more mature, but I feel like they have the same kind of a mindset. And so I do think that those two might have a connection that maybe we don't realize they could have.
Yeah.
Personality-wise.
I wouldn't be surprised because, look, I know people still have this idea that he's going to get traded. He's not getting traded.
Yeah, we keep seeing it all over the place that, if the Knicks get Donovan Mitchell, he's going to be traded. I don't think so.
He's not going to.
You never know, but I don't think so.
So here's the thing, right? Even if whenever we do get Donovan Mitchell, he's not going to get traded. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to say that, hey, we owe ourselves, and they feel like probably Julius Randle, that they got to give this a year. They got to give it one more try with him before, I think, really trying hard to ship him out. So, I mean, I think Randall's going to have I'm hoping he has a bounce back season with his attitude, because I think the production is there, man. The production is there. It's just it's just his attitude. You know what I'm saying? It's just his attitude with everything. So, I mean, I feel like this season he's gonna. Because so I'm gonna be honest with you, man, he can't get worse than what he did.
I mean,
you could.
I guess you could. I mean, if you get worse than last year, it was a tough season for Julius Randle last year. You know what I mean? His attitude, the spat with the fans, his numbers were way down. You know what I mean? Not scoring wise, but percentage wise, his numbers were down. And I'm not even talking about 3-point shooting, right? 3-point shooting, we expected him to go down. But field goal percentage, 41%. It was just a bad season for Julius Randle. I know he couldn't wait to get through this season.
Oh no, 100%.
I know he couldn't.
Once he got to them 65 games, he said, "All right, that's it."
Yeah.
But no, I mean, oh man,
I just had to put it up there.
So why you do that?
I just had to put it up there.
For
those listening, D Public Enemy said Big Bubba's hat size is way past 8.
First of all,
I'm not gonna ask you to. Ask you to divulge. That's all.
No. I'm gonna say no. I'm gonna defend myself. So let me say this. I'm gonna say it. On a good day, it's a size 7-8. 7,
on a good day, okay.
No, actually, to be fair, Sim, when I put on because I do 7, 7, 8, and sometimes I do an 8. The 8 sometimes be baggy, man. The 8, I be having room with the 8.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. I be having room with.
Go ahead and finish with. You probably forgot what you were getting ready to say.
No.
See,
no,
he
man.
did. He forgot what he was getting ready.
No. I did. No, crap. No, Randall, man. It's to me, this is the only, and I've been saying this throughout the couple shows that we've been doing. This season, for the Knicks had a good season, man. Randall has to have a great attitude, and when I mean great attitude, I don't mean of course he's a human being, right? He's not gonna be perfect.
Go ahead, man. Right. He's a human being. Not going to be perfect.
No, he's not going to be perfect. There's going to be days where, that's this normal human thing. I'm talking about keeping your cool, right?
Mm-hmm.
During game situations.
Right.
The situations that we seen with the laptop. I don't want to see that this season.
Right.
I'll be honest with you. Even if he's arguing with teammates, I get that. We all played sports. We get that we get into heated during the game. That I'm cool with. If I see him arguing with a teammate, I'm cool with that. That's just normal sports stuff. But him, slapping the computers from assistant coaches, him flipping, him just during games, the straight up games, walking away at the game. It's just things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm worried about. That's, to me, is when there's tension in the room. Where it's like, y'all, we don't know what this dude's gonna do.
Yeah, or that's why I hope that Rick Brunson comes in, and I feel that Rick Brunson will come in because I think he's used to dealing with players. Listen, he's been coaching the high school in Camden, for the past however many years. He's used to dealing with young men who maybe have an issue controlling their anger. You know what I'm saying? And understands how to deal with them. I've been saying for a long time, very long time, that I think, in today's NBA, it'd be good to have someone it doesn't have to be a coach on a high school level, but has dealt with kids on a high school level because kids are coming into the league so young, 18, 19 years old, and they still have a high school mentality, some of them, and if you have someone who has that experience on working with teenagers not that Julius Randle was a teenager, but just working with teenagers, it could go a long way. Julius Randle came into the league as a teenager.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
18, 19?
Yeah, like 19 years old. And obviously over the years you grow and you change and you learn. But I think Rick Brunson knows how to deal with guys like Julius Randle. So I think he's going to be really, really good. I think he's going to be really, really good for Julius Randle. Just really good for Randle. Yeah. And then hopefully Jalen Brunson. And that's why I think that relationship will come in too, because I do think that Julius Randle, I guess it could go both ways, right? It could be Julius Randle can't accept Rick Brunson, and
he's gonna love him,
and it goes the opposite way, or he's gonna love him, and they become really, really close, and then that also helps that relationship between Jalen and Julius grow. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree with you, man. Because again, we're going back to our season, to 2021, man. Again, you just felt the respect that Woody got. Woody was Pop. Woody was Grandpa.
Right.
And you didn't disrespect. And you could tell because you don't disrespect your grandfather, or you don't want to let him down. So you be on your best behavior. I think last year, I don't want to. How can I say this? Because it's not on Coach Payne. When you know somebody so well long, that's a little bit. He's not your father.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
You got that relationship. Soon that relationship starts to change a little bit. Especially a guy like Kenny Payne, who knew him from he was a teenager, now he's an adult. And to be honest with you, maybe that wasn't even his role in Kentucky. Yeah, that may not have been his role. Mike Woodson had that role. That was his role, and I think Rick Brunson comes in a little bit of a different role than Mike Woodson. I think he comes in more as like a big brother type.
I was gonna say that big, big brother, uncle.
Yeah,
like you, Sim, like you.
Yeah, like I'm gonna whoop that ass if you don't get it together. You know what I'm saying? Like I think.
Well, not my ass. He's not whooping my ass.
I mean. Yeah. Adele Chapman, thank you for the super chat. He said, do you think Meta World Peace can help Randle? I mean, I know, we know what Meta World Peace has been through, and he's dealt with he's dealt with mental health issues, and he's not been afraid to talk about it and share information, about things he's dealt with. And if Julius Randle is going through some mental health things, a guy like Meta World Peace could be a good person to talk to about how to deal with it, because we know what Meta World Peace went through, and he's still dealing with how do I handle my mental health issues, and someone who has that experience is always good to talk to. Always good to talk to.
Yeah, no.
So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to him talking to Meta World Peace at all. And I know there's some people in the back of their minds like, are you crazy? You want him to talk to Meta World Peace? But, just looking at the experiences that he went through, he's more mature now. Maturism, I'm going to use that word again. That might be my new word, maturism. I don't know. But.
Put it in the dictionary.
He could probably help Julius Randle in just learning how to deal with it, and sharing his experiences and the mistakes that he made. And, to make sure that Julius Randle doesn't make the same mistakes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And let me see if I can get to a phone call here. Caller, you're live. Tell me your name and where you're from, please. My man, you there?
Hey, hello? Yeah, what's going on, son?
Yo, what's going on with you, my brother? How you feeling? Brother. Yeah, how you feeling, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother? What's going on, man?
Not much. I just actually want to get in touch with just talking a little bit more about Jalen Brunson.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the everybody that's going on right now, they beasting and they feeding for Donovan Mitchell. Me personally, I'm on the same radar with everybody. I feel like even if we don't get Donovan Mitchell, like damn if we do, damn if we don't. I feel like we still in a good situation right now. I feel like Leon Rose, like it's something about that dude, like just throughout like his whole career with being in the Knicks organization, I feel like he kind of put us like in the right position right now, like just with how he made his moves with just grabbing a lot of picks for us because we don't necessarily really have to trade for Donovan if we don't really want to. Like, I feel like throughout the whole year, even if we don't, it's just all about the youth that we got. Like, even if we don't get them this year, like, I feel like with the young cats, like, it's still going to put us in the right position. Like, we got Grimes. He was doing this thing in the G League. Like, me personally, if we don't get Donovan, I would either put him at the 2 or put RJ at the 2 and move Cam Reddish at the 3. I feel like a lot of people sleeping on Cam. That dude, he has a lot of potential. Like, I have high hopes for him, like, for this season. Excuse me. And as far as Julius Randle, I feel like us having a legit point guard like Jalen Brunson, I feel like he's gonna be the type to unleash that good side of Julius Randle. I shall hope. You know, I don't want to speak too soon or speak too highly of Julius Randle, but not only that, it will also help Julius Randle not have the ball in his hand as much. Like, he don't have to really necessarily play that point forward like he was trying to. And I just feel like Jalen Brunson, he gonna be that dude for us, man. He gonna get everybody involved, bring the best out of everybody. He got his pops there, and we just gonna be in a good situation. Now, this is gonna be my last thing. I feel the main person who's gonna have to really do their thing this year is Tom Thibodeau. If this dude don't, like, do what he got to do with his minutes and making sure everybody get involved, then I don't know, man. I think they're going to have to boot him up out of here ASAP and give us, like, that coach who's going to, talk to the young youth, talk to the young cats that we got on this team and just basically just bring our own superstar. If we don't get Donovan, then we still going to be good, man. We got all those draft picks. We straight.
Nah, yeah.
I leave it at that. What's your thoughts?
I definitely feel you. I do believe that, for the last couple of years, the Knicks have been preparing for this moment, and that Donovan Mitchell was probably going to be a Knick. You know what I'm saying? I think everything that they've done up until now was to prepare for Donovan Mitchell. Everything you've seen at the draft was to prepare for Donovan Mitchell. The hiring of Walt Perrin, the hiring of Johnny Bryant. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was all in preparation for Donovan Mitchell. So I think they're going out. I think they're going to get him.
Yeah, me personally, I feel like if Leon Rose, like, because he's a smart dude. Like, he's not rushing. He's not trying to throw the whole team, the whole future at just for one person. You know what I'm saying? He's just taking his time and trying to not let what's his guy name, Danny Ainge, like, you know what I'm saying, just get over him with the team and let us be like the laughing stock or whatever.
Right.
So
right.
If you ask me, I feel like he's playing chess, not checkers.
Yeah, and I feel like Leon Rose, he's been an agent for a long time. He knows how to negotiate.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, man.
I'm going to leave it at that, though, man. Yeah,
appreciate you, brother. Appreciate your call.
No doubt,
man. Have a good one. Be safe.
You too, man. All right.
Yeah, Isaiah. I don't know. It's hard. Listen, it's hard to talk about anything else right now because of Donovan Mitchell. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is so anticipating when Donovan Mitchell is finally going to be a New York Knick. It's hard to talk about anything else.
To be honest, and I don't want people to start killing me again. Look, I've come to the realization that it's probably going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'll say this though, right? The Knicks have all the leverage. They do. So, Sim, here's right, and this is where I'm coming from with this, right?
I mean,
here's why they have the leverage, Sim.
Okay,
listen to this. This is why he has the leverage. This is why the Knicks have the leverage.
Go ahead.
We can wait. Our team is majority young kids.
They can wait.
We can wait.
So can they.
But they want to tank. That's their problem. They want to tank.
Right? But they don't have to.
Yeah, they don't have to. But here's the big thing, though. Danny Ainge isn't stupid, Sim. He knows the worst place to ever be in the NBA is in that purgatory spot.
But listen. You can still tank even with Donovan. People say you can't. Donovan Mitchell is going to help you win games. Yes, he will. but you can put such a bad roster around him that they're gonna lose. You know what I'm saying? You know, I mean, you can, and so I don't totally buy into the fact they have the player that you want.
We have what he had what we on too. We got the picks, we got the players,
Right? But
we
look,
got the salary to match.
but they also have a bunch of picks that they got for Rudy Gobert. You know what I'm saying? They don't have to move on from Donovan Mitchell right now. They can tank this year. They can tank next year. They can tank the year after that. I just don't totally buy into that the Knicks have the upper hand in this situation here. They have a good hand, and they have some very, very strong negotiating points, but they have the player that you want. You know what I mean? And if let's put it like this. I mean, I guess there's no winner or loser, but who's going to be hurt the most if this trade does not happen? If this doesn't happen, Utah is going to be like, okay. We got Donovan Mitchell. Maybe we can convince him, maybe we can do whatever. We got Donovan Mitchell. And the Knicks are going to say, yeah, well, we got, 11 draft picks or 22 draft picks or whatever it is. So I don't know. I really don't buy into that the Knicks have the upper hand in these negotiations because they have the star player. I just think that they have some really, really good negotiating points. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at with that. Now, obviously I want Donovan Mitchell to be a Knick, and I think he will end up being a Knick. We probably need, we may be looking at like the Carmelo situation, right? Where, Carmelo was traded to OKC almost the eve before training camp. You know what I mean? It might be looking the same way with Donovan Mitchell. You know what I mean? That he's not, it comes all the way down until just before training camp. ODOG, hopefully I said that right. He said, nah, Sim, they have the tank. Plus, they can't intentionally tank or they get fined. Knicks have all the leverage. They cannot start the season with them. They don't have to tank. They want to tank. I think there's a difference there, right? They want to tank. They don't have to tank. And, you're saying you can't tank intentionally, but listen, the roster that you decide to put on the floor, that's the roster that you decide to put on the floor. They've already gotten rid of Rudy Gobert. You know what I mean? They don't have to tell the coach, don't play this guy, don't play that guy, don't play that guy. They can waive players. They can move players. They can find a way to put a bad roster around Donovan Mitchell. And who's going to prove that they're tanking intentionally? They can say, hey, this is the way that we want our team to go right now. I think tanking intentionally is, more like, it's the end of the season and, we got 5 guys that are this level of player and we're going to sit them on the bench or something like that, right? Or, you had certain players in the game and you were winning and you took those players out to make sure that you lost. I think that's a little bit more like tanking than just saying, okay, this is the roster that we're going to put out there on the floor and we're going to play with them. I don't know. I just don't think that the Knicks really have the upper hand in this situation. You could say the Knicks don't need to trade, but neither does Utah. They don't have to. If they don't have to. You know what I mean? And, they can come to a situation with Donovan Mitchell where they say, hey, we'll sit out the season or something like that. I mean, and I'm not saying they would, and I'm not saying that Donovan Mitchell would want to do that because he's very young, but we've seen it happen time and time again with players, right, that were no longer going to be with that team. And while that team was looking for the best deal, they sat out and didn't play. So, it's going to be a lengthy negotiating process. In the end, I think he ends up a New York Knick. I think he ends up a New York Knick in the end. So let me try to get to one more phone call, ladies and gentlemen. And once I get to this phone call, I am going to head up out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed the show. And it doesn't look like I'm getting to this phone call. I think I missed it already. But hopefully you enjoyed the show. I'll be back on tonight on Dope Soul Sports Talk. We got a good topic that we're discussing, so make sure you check it out tonight at 9:30. I'll be on with the Queen Steph with about 7 other content creators. And we're going to be talking about New York Knicks content creators and are we replacing ESPN? That's going to be a good show. And is our channels like ESPN or platforms like ESPN going away because of fan-based media, at least for the New York Knicks? So that's going to be a very, very good conversation. All right, so make sure you check us out tonight at 9:30 on Dope Soul Sports Talk. Ladies and gentlemen, I am out of here. I appreciate all of your time, everybody who was here in the chat, all the phone calls, et cetera, et cetera. I'll see you guys tonight, 9:30, ladies and gentlemen. I'm out. Peace.
This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When Sim passed the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench.